Hello, this is Greg Allison with Green Gregs coming to you on 9 February 2021. Time on deck, 4800 hours, Central Standard Time. Now, I got to tell you, I've told you a lot about the tensions in the world and the tensions at home, but you got to understand sometimes what's going on in these other countries to maybe know how they respect their own people and how they would treat you if you had the opportunity to be under their thumb. Maybe you don't want to be there. So the subject today is China, the People's Republic of China. Let me distinguish that because there's also a Republic of China, which is a democracy, much like the United States, we also know as Taiwan. So there's really two Chinas, but Chinese people are Chinese people. It's the governments that change what's happening. So there's good and wonderful people in each land. So I'm just my disclaimer right here. There's good and wonderful people in any land on the earth, any city, anywhere you go, creed, culture, you'll find good people with good hearts, good minds, hardworking people that care and are smart. But often the ruling class is something entirely different, and that's who we have to deal with. So just bear that in mind. You know, don't classify everybody with a big wet blanket, because, like I said, there's good and bad in everything, in every place, and everybody on this planet. Something my dad always taught me, said, Greg, there's always good and bad in everybody and everything. Now, all right, so enough said about that. But here's the deal. The Chinese, the People's Republic of China government, ruled by the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, is making some dictates and doing things, and they have policies which lead to genocide. We're talking about genocide. So, in fact, we're talking about the genocide of the Uyghur people and now the people of Tibet. And so we're going to talk about the Uyghurs, and then we're going to ask, is the Tibetans the next Uyghurs? And in fact, it's already been started there. So we're going to talk about both of these, and we're going to talk about what they mean in a broader context. So coming back home, just before we launch into that, I'm going to say that, like I always do, you know that I bring you a lot of stories on this channel to keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. I'm doing this so you can understand who China is and what we're dealing with. When I say China, I'm talking about the People's Republic of China. Let me distinguish that again. What is it we're dealing with? Because a lot of people say, Greg, it's their turn. Let them have. We've been terrible. We've been awful. Let them. We've been the worst things on earth. Let them have a chance at ruling. Well, I'm not saying we've been great and wonderful, but you might need to have a look at just who they are before you just roll out the red carpet to them. Would you have rolled out the red carpet to the man running Germany in the 1939, 40s, time frame? You might be talking about the same kind of thing. So bear with me. And also understand that with the international tensions in the world today, including the pressures from them, the pressures of us and them, the pressures with other spheres around the world, the pressures internally. If it hasn't occurred to you that this is, a good time to prep, you might want to start looking around. You might want to wake up. This is a really good time to start getting ready for bad times, because we may have bad times coming, not to mention increase in food prices. So I do have a special. It's 20% off of a 25-year-long storage food. This is freeze-dried. It's lightweight. It's easy to carry, to bug out, and it's well packaged for bugging in. And if you need to go in a backpack, just pop the top and pull out the pouches, which they're all self-contained in, throw them in, and off you go. And they're good for camping too. So this is 20% off on average. You can get the special is for two of these or one of these. Two of these is 4 weeks. One of these is 2 weeks, and that will take you through, like I said, 25 years. It's 2,000 calories a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The deal that'll make you a winner. So the total price per meal right now is running about $8.11 per day, not per meal, per day. That's pretty good. It's cheaper than going to some of these hamburger joints, right? It's better food than that. So there you go. And it lasts a long time. So consider that. Also, I have videos on how to eat from the weeds and trees, which is free. So please make sure you subscribe to my channel, bang the notification bell, and click all, so you can continue to see all these things I warn you about to maintain the proposition of my channel, which is help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. So we're going into the hive. We'll talk about the hive. We're going to talk about one of the big hive countries that's trying to spread and trying to exert their influence all over the world. And of course, that is the People's Republic of China. So we're going to talk about what's going on with the Uyghurs. It just so happens that the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, has published some of the most horrifying evidence yet of Chinese Communist Party's atrocities against the Uyghur people. And it's, what they detail with their published reports now is an absolutely disgusting campaign of systematic rape, torture, and genocide. Yikes. Well, talking about genocide, what are they doing? Well, they're doing forced sterilizations, forced abortions against Uyghur people. Uyghur moms might be pregnant. They're forced to have, many times, to have abortions. They're sterilizing these people against their will. Both of these against their will. They're destroying families. They're destroying the people, their culture, their families. And Tibetans are next, apparently. And what after that? You got to remember, the Uyghur area and Tibet are not Chinese per se. They belong to the People's Republic of China, supposedly, according to the People's Republic of China, through the force of conquest, kind of Inner Mongolia. These are lands that are under conquest, like the People's Republic of China would like to extend to the Republic of China. Conquest, like how they're taking the land of Hong Kong. Yeah, those guys thought they had a 50-year deal. I mean, they thought they were good for quite a few more decades, and discovered, wow, China broke that treaty, like they do so many others, like the Law of the Sea Treaty. I'm going to come back to that in a future video. May put it on my Galactic Greg's channel, why we absolutely have to put a moon base up. Now, you may not believe in space, but to heck with that. I'm going to talk about that on Galactic Greg's. All right, so let's get on with this. As we know, an estimated 1 million Uyghurs and other Turkic people are in detainment in the Xinjiang region of China. That's the whole region that the Uyghurs come from, the Xinjiang. Excuse me if I murdered the pronunciation of that, what should be nation. They're detained in the CCP's concentration camps, which they so cheerfully call re-education centers. Yeah, well, we heard these kind of terms before. And it just so happens that some of the stories from these people have been brought to light. I'm going to play you a little video in a moment of testimony from a Uyghur woman, a couple women who've been dealing with this, including a Chinese woman actually who had the job of helping detain these women. So to talk about this torture endured by these Uyghur women, for example, that includes rape, torture with electric batons, in addition to other unspeakable means of sexual violence. So we're talking about, a teacher talking about one case where a woman, 20 to 21-year-old woman, was raped in front of hundreds of other detainees. And if any of these detainees, which are Uyghur people, so they're watching one of their fellow people being brutally raped. And if any one of these people watching, never mind, these are Muslims. To them, this is the most disgusting, heinous thing in the world. It's just beyond disgusting to them because they have a whole different standard about such things. And so to them, even if it wasn't rape, they would be grimacing at this just to see it. But they're forced to watch. And if they show any sign of disgust, they're tortured for showing signs of disgust at their fellow people being brutally raped. Wow. So that's how it goes down. Such atrocities aren't the work of individual sadists, but deliberate and systematic, as dictated by Chinese foul totalitarian regime, again, the CCP, led by the General Secretary Xi Jinping. And one of the ladies who has been subject to this, she said that, hey, even if the people are released, and a lot of these people they claim released, who knows what happens to them. But even once they're released, hey, look, they've been sterilized, they've been forced abortion, they've been brutalized, dehumanized. So she said these people are, in her opinion, for anyone who leaves the camps, that they're finished. These people are finished. But, look, they go into culture, which, you're disgraced if you've been in that kind of stuff. So plus they conduct the surveillance and all kind of internment, indoctrination, dehumanization, sterilization, torture, rape. So I'll show the video in just a moment from just a snip from one of these people talking. Anyway, so, you know, the CCP claims, well, this is all in response to terrorism. Do you rape and torture women in response to terrorism? Is that an appropriate thing to do? Mass genocide? What are these people supposedly committing acts of terrorism? They're conquered people. They want freedom. So if they protest or do something to try to get attention for a freedom movement, that's terrorism. Is that right? Interesting. Well, the CCP's campaign against Uyghurs is not merely a disproportionate reaction to terrorist attacks and riots that took place in Xi Jinping years ago, leading up to these current policies, but it really it's a campaign of genocide. Because listen to this, what they do. They use sex and rape as weapons against the Uyghur people. And it's also reported that what they do is they go into Uyghur homes. And in fact, when a Uyghur man is in one of these re-education centers, concentration camps, okay, they send a Han Chinese man into that home to go to bed with that woman. So the women have to share beds with a Han Chinese man. So here's a husband in prison. He knows his woman is in bed with what to him is a foreign man of a different religion who is forcing his wife to do whatever he wants. How does that man feel? How do the kids feel? If you're the look, these women, they're not nobodies, they're people. They're people. See, that's what they want you to do, dehumanize them. Oh, they're Muslims, they're this, they're that, they're terrorists. They're people. They're people. They have brothers and sisters and children. And just imagine if that was your mom, that was your sister, that was your daughter. How would you feel? Yet they're supposed to just take this. You see what it's doing? This is destroying the will of these people. It's destroying their spirit. Their identity is being destroyed. They're being displaced. So this all fits into Beijing's long-standing plans of settling that region with Han Chinese. In fact, they're moving Uyghurs out and bringing Chinese in. Han Chinese, I should say. They're all supposed to be Chinese, technically. So they're not just eliminating the culture. They're seeking a physical annihilation of the very people themselves. But many of the officials on the Chinese side, they speak to this like, you know, hey, you're just spraying crop, you know, chemicals on a crop to wipe out the weeds. You know, and they liken them, the Muslim Uyghurs to malignant tumors, or even Islam as a communicable disease. Wow, so much for freedom of religion, equality, all these things that communism was supposed to bring to us, right? Well, at least the equality side. They never claimed freedom of religion, but, you know, that's one of our Western standards, which definitely is not practiced there. So, you know, hey, in the eyes of many here in the West, the Chinese Communist Party is guilty of crimes against humanity for genocide, or crimes against humanity and genocide. You know, this is something that you might remember Pompeo took up, but even Biden, President Biden's State Department, is hard pressed to deny this, and supposedly they're looking into it. So what are they doing? I don't, you know, that's to be seen. That is to be seen. We'll see how this plays out. But I'm gonna play a video for you guys. Let me do a share here. Hang on. Give me 1 minute, please. Share screen. Bada bing, bada bang. We're going to enlarge this. I'm going to play for a second. Hang on. Just a moment. I'm just going to play this. This lady has been detained for 5 months. So she's one of the lucky ones. Just 5 months and she's out. But hear what she's got to say. This comes to us from Sky News Australia. Actually, it probably comes from these guys, through these guys, okay? So we're just going to play a little bit. Check out Sky News Australia whenever you can. They got a YouTube channel. They cover a lot of stuff about Australia and China, how they're dealing with each other.
They did whatever evil their mind could think of, and they didn't spare any part of my body. Han Chinese man.
Look at that. Wow, that's just nasty, disgusting.
Would pay money to have their pick of the pretty young inmates. My job is to remove their clothes and then handcuff them on their beds so they cannot move. It is very obvious. Their goal is to destroy everyone.
But yeah, I don't want to play any more of that. Oh, holy smoke, guys. You see what I'm saying? Their goal is to destroy everyone. That's what they think. That's what they feel. And why shouldn't they feel that way? Why should they not feel that way? Let me stop this share. Now, you know what? I'm going to go over in some other websites here. Hang on. We're going to show you some other stuff here. Whew. Yeah, that's tough. You know, guys, look, there's people. They're human beings. I'd say the Chinese people in general, I wouldn't fault the population of China. Don't do that. That's a mistake. It's the leadership. It's the leadership. The only fault of the people of China is they've not gotten rid of that leadership. It's very difficult to get rid of a leadership that's in power like that. But there is hope for that. We'll go into the hope for that here right at the end, okay? Mass internment camps, forced population swap. Is Tibet the next Xinjiang? So what they're talking about here is how, you know, China's, the People's Republic of China have replaced most of the people in the cities of Tibet, or they're working at with their own people. They're really working to replace the cities. And now they're going after the people in the rural zones, the Tibetan autonomous areas, and putting them in camps. So here we go. So the United States has reiterated, we'll stand with the Tibetan cause. The United States State Department has said that Joe Biden administration will continue to press China on human rights violations in Tibet. Okay, we've been doing this for all these years. What's come of it? Nothing. It's words. It's blah, 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 blah. So what? You know, so we haven't done anything. You know, why don't we have most most favored trading status with China? You know, that's what Bill Clinton set up. Back in the time, we thought that it would, you know, that we get the Chinese used to us and they would see how much better our system was and how happy people were in general, and that China would change their ways, that they would loosen up, that they would begin to walk away from Maoism. Oh no, no, not at all. In fact, one of the previous chairman of the CCP actually stated that their policy was to lay low on that for a time until their power increased, and then they would roll it back out, and that's what they're doing. Okay, so let's move on here with this article. I'm going to bring it on down to here, and says Tibet is fast becoming the next Xinjiang, and according to the report, China has built military-style training centers in Tibet, which are targeting rural Tibetans. And so what they said, Tibetans are predominantly a rural population, and apparently it's like in 2000, 87.2%. That's very rural, very rural. Much more so than most of our Western countries, where everybody, you know, we're like 80, 90% cities now. Uh-oh, what happened there? I hate it when this stuff jumps around like this. And my cursor went all the way to the bottom of the article. I didn't barely touched it, and went boom, off to Mars. That's got to show us all these ads. Oh my goodness. So find my place again, guys. Oh, it took me to, did it take me to another article? No, okay. Pardon me for that, guys. Sometimes these things jump. According to, the Chinese government is targeting these rural Tibetans. And let's see, an estimated 500,000 were trained till July last year in the training centers. So what they got the re-education camp. Yeah, I kind of lost my place when that happened to me. The other devious design by the Chinese forced mass movement of rural Tibetans into the urban areas. So they're moving them to urban areas. They're moving them out of Tibet. They're moving Han Chinese into the cities there, and they're setting up the internment camps. They're building them right now. They're putting more into them. What's in urban centers? Well, I'll scroll left and right, and the article scrolls up. You see that? Why? Because an ad pops up down here, a video. I hate that kind of crap on these websites. So sometimes I used to never go to websites. Maybe I got to stop this. You know, a little faster if I can do this and bring you stuff this way, but it's really a suboptimal way to roll here. So it talks about the Dalai Lama's claim that China's taken out over 1 million Tibetans so far. Yeah, you see that? I don't even want to say that word here, but there we are. So basically what they're trying to do is destroy their identity as a people. That's pretty obvious. So what you see is that the rate of the Han Chinese population growing is very high compared to the rate of the Tibetans. So they're really trying to displace them in the cities, and they're trying to get them in the country. I'm not going to go in there any further in this article because it's just been behaving on me. But you get the idea. They're really targeting Tibetans the same as they're targeting the Uyghurs. And so this is really starting to ramp up. It's been going on to some degree for some time, but they seem to be really ramping that up more so now. But there's like Greg, it's time to give China their chance. You know, you might know that, see, China, if you read these articles and see what's going on, you'll see that they're into genocide, just like somebody else was back in the 30s and 40s. They're a very expansionist country. They're very aggressive right now with how they're treating their neighbors, with their Belts and Roads Initiative or the New Silk Road. And, you know, they're very nationalistic. China's a very nationalistic country. And they're also socialist, right? What happens when you type in a search engine? Oh, that's cute. What happens when you type in a search engine the words national and socialist? What do you get? Bum, ba-dum, bum. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about it. But there is hope. At least what some people would interpret as hope. And there's a surge of growth in China in spite of all their draconian ways in China to stamp out everything. See, in a totalitarian government, the idea of a state society, statism, is that the highest power in the land is the state, that you work to the state, you believe in the state. The state is the highest order. But some people are looking for another higher order. So whether you believe in it or not, this is competition of ideas, hearts and minds within the heartland of their country. And it just so happened that Christianity is surging 7 to 8%. See what it says? China, land of dark, seeing the light of the gospel, that is. The explosion of Christianity in recent years. So the more they squeeze down on people, the more other things come out. And this is a undercurrent. You know, see, in the Soviet Union, Christianity was growing, even though the state was trying to stamp it out entirely. The harder they stomped on it, the more it grew. And that may be exactly what's happening here, because Christianity is growing in China. Look here, like I said, 7 to 8% per year. And they project there'll be 30 million Christians in China by the year 2030. That means there'll be more Christians in China than there are in North America. Well, maybe excluding Mexico, at least in the United States, almost as many Christians in China as there are people in the United States. Wow. So there's a chink in the armor of the future of China. That's what that says. So if we can keep China from overexpanding in the next few decades, if we can keep them from going ballistic, we can keep them from launching stuff on us, taking out our power grid. If we can keep them, the best way to do that is to harden our power grid. Don't make it the low-hanging, tempting fruit that's so easy to take out that would utterly destroy this nation. You know, that's the asymmetric warfare. Or you put a little bit of effort here, you know, a few $1,000s, and you can store a multi-trillion-dollar economy. That's where we're at right now with our power grid. It's ridiculous. We got to get our power grid hardened and more secure so that it won't tempt others to do something with it. But if we can maintain ourselves through these next few decades, and if we can keep from obliterating each other in time, China might cave more then, because you know, you can only stretch out and grow that out so much. They're breeding a lot of resentment. Even though these people are moving around, they're trying to exterminate them. They're not happy. So the hope is that China could fall within. In the meantime, we shouldn't be empowering China by buying so much of their stuff. Sometimes that's the only choice you've got right now. But we need to, you know, I tell people, spend your dollar local. Support your local economy, your local artisan, not even the big multinational corporations. Support the small guys as much as you possibly can. This is the way to keep the growth of globalism at bay. This is the way to help ensure your freedoms of yourself, your family, and your communities, especially at the community level. It's also better for the environment, not to have stuff trucked all over the world back and forth. Much better for the environment. much better for the environment and the community. So that's what everybody around the world ought to be doing, is supporting our communities as much as possible. But yeah, except for where you got a government's got a jackboot on your neck, you support each other within that community, just not the guys with the jackboot on your neck. So if you fall in that category, now you know what I'm talking about. Support each other, but not the guy that's putting the boot on your neck. Of course, you know. So there's hope. There's hope that could fall from within. But in the meantime, you know, but by increasing trade and doing deals, and let's hold countries that make these deals. See, there's a lot of countries that in Africa have happily cut deals with China because the Chinese Communist Party did not require them to have good human rights. So some of the dictators, they like cutting deals with China because so other countries say, oh no, you can't be treating your people this way or that way. China don't care. They don't care about anybody. They don't care about their own people. And what the people in Africa are starting to find out is they don't care about them either. Because just look what happened when the bug was going around there and how they clamped down, how they treated the people of color in China. It was awful. There's been quite a few reports on that. So the Chinese, you know, this is how they treat their own people. If they get to expand the way they want to, and they keep growing and growing, expanding over time, which is apparently what they're wanting to do given their posturing that they're doing with all their border countries. Excuse me, sneeze. How will they treat you when you are under the Chinese rule? How will they treat you? Oh, you're a nice, wonderful person, right? So are all these other people that they're treating somewhat less than totally hospitable. Yeah, they'll trade with you today, so they want you on their side right now. They'll lure you in. That's how Sun Tzu works. That's how you bait a fly trap. The bait's got to be sweet. Now, lure you in, make you relax, make you think everything is great and wonderful. Well, it could be nothing better. Ah, can I get you something to eat? Can I get you a drink? Here's a nice easy chair. Relax, lay down. I got you taken care of. Zap right in the back while you're all relaxed. And then you're gone. That's what we're talking about. That's asymmetric. That's the way they prefer to deal with it. You know, they don't want to take us on head to head if they could avoid it. They might be willing to. They're growing their military more and more and more over time. Let's hope it don't come to that. Let's hope the city's trap don't get sprung here. Or let's hope there's better solutions to ease the things in the world today. But, you know, Neville Chamberlain also had hopes for making things easy, but the expansion of the guy he negotiated with, making him think that everything was going to be great and wonderful. If you don't know who I'm talking about, go back and check your history. Neville Chamberlain thought he had a deal and everything was going to be great and wonderful with Germany in the coming decade of the 40s. Yeah, history proved otherwise. Churchill was right. So there we are, my friends. Keep your eyes wide open, head on the swivel. That's what I always tell you. That's what you really got to do here. So all I'm trying to do is tell you what this place is like on the inside. This place we're dealing with, what do we see? We see nice, cheap tennis shoes and phones and gadgets coming out of there. You know, the problem with this whole scenario is that nobody wants to chastise them. The Muslim countries don't even chastise them for what they're doing to their people. Why? Which is atrocious. Why? Because they're looking for the deals, the trade deals. I mean, hey, Iran just got, you know, $8 billion from the CCP. So they're not going to chastise them. Nobody under them is going to chastise them. All these other countries are hoping to trade with them and cut deals because they keep holding out that carrots. They keep putting sugar on that fly bait. They keep trying to lure countries in. And their MO is to go into a smaller country like an island country and buy out their leader. And then take the country, basically. That's, you know, effectively, virtually. So that's what's happening. So we need to make sure all these other countries are cutting these deals. And hey, right now they're down in Jamaica big time, and they're going into other islands in the Caribbean. They're with their Belts and Roads Initiative. What's next? What's next? That's why we got to be wary, my friends. That's why we got to be wary, very wary. And we got to be wary of people on our side who are just too complacent because they see the greed. They've been bought out, that they're in league with all this because they're getting money and influence and so forth from this. But that's just fly bait. That's a very seductive, bad thing. So think about this. In the 1930s, the United States had a population of about 132 million. Germany had a population of 82 million. We were more populous than Germany. Japan had a population of 126.5 million. We were also more populous than Japan. But the two of them together were a little bit more populous than us. If you look at China, it's about 4 times the population of the United States. And we've won every war we won because of attrition, because we outproduced our enemy. We've outsourced our manufacturing. In World War II, when it started, America was the world's exporter of energy, the exporter of energy. All these other countries that exported energy, the OPEC nations, they hadn't been developed yet. The United States was the producer and exporter of energy. We were the world's manufacturing base right here in the United States. All it's gone. You don't win a war of attrition if you don't produce. We don't produce. So how do we manage with it in an environment like this? That's why I say China is the 900-pound gorilla in the room, or beyond that, 900 trillion-pound gorilla. They are far, far bigger, far more subtle, far more sneaky, and far more dangerous than Germany and Japan put together ever dreamed of being. They can own this world easily if we're not astute, if we're not aware, if we're not awake, if we don't maintain our freedoms, if we don't try to keep things in balance. So I'm just bringing all this up to say, be careful. Don't give them too much influence. Keep things in balance. That is my point. Keep things in balance and stay awake, aware, and don't let them advance too much. And we need to spread this awareness to the other countries and peoples that are dealing with them. It's like, do you really want their port in your country? What's coming with it? You know, and this could be their entry to seizing an island, because China's got this dream of the first islands, which is the 9-dash line, and they want to take Taiwan, the second islands, and the third islands, which some people say even include Hawaii. Yeah, they got a very expansionist dream. You know, that's their defense perimeters growing, as they also take in other countries around them over time. You got to remember, they conquered Tibet. They took over the region of the Uyghur people. They have, you know, over time they've conquered them. That goes a little bit further back, but they also, you know, have taken the Inner Mongolia, which is where most of the Mongolians live, and now they're telling the Mongolians that they can't teach their own language in their own schools. See how they're doing? Wow. Is this who we want ruling the world? Do we want to let them totally just take over? Probably not the greatest idea on earth, unless, of course, you're David Rockefeller, who said that China, the CCP, set the example for how to run this planet. Wow. All righty then. That's, you know, consider the social credit system and how that can grow with technology, especially when you can jack it in the back of your neck and into your own noodle with, well, maybe not neck and neck, top of the head with a Neuralink. Okay, guys. So let's hope that we stay the course. So that's my point with this video. So everybody, I'm going to say, I've said enough. So Greg, we're going to keep the balance. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching.